Yo, what's up, guys? Not no policy strokefish here. It's been a while since my last video, but a new cycle of GDS has started up, and as per usual, I upload the first video and will probably not upload the rest. But that being said, yeah, I've been pretty busy for the past year. Not even gonna lie. Not gonna go into too much detail as it's not like personal, but it's definitely something that it's like, yeah, it's not like a death or something. That would be bad. That would be not good, and definitely yeah. Anyway, so yeah, I'm gonna do like a quick draft analysis, and then we're gonna go into our week 1 battles. So kind of a 2-for-1 deal, if you like that kind of stuff. So basically, GDS, how it worked this time, it was like an NFL style draft. It's a 32-man free draft, which originally, I had the idea of the NFL. I thought it was a cool concept because I didn't think a lot of leagues were doing that, so I thought it'd be a cool concept to do more actually sports-based leagues, as I do like the NFL, so I'm like, you know what, let's do something like this. 32 free draft, I was a little bit skeptical about. I didn't really know how it was going to work out, so I was kind of worried about that. But in the end, it ended up working out, and we got some pretty cool stuff. So I had a pretty middle pick, but it was kind of like middle end, so it was more near the end. So I picked up some good stuff if I was able to grab it. Other times I got sniped a lot, but it was basically like 40 plus picks between each of my picks, so it was kind of annoying, but nevertheless, I think we had a very good team and something that really complements my playstyle. So, for one, I like to willy-nilly switch into stuff. That's kind of what I've noticed. So, I definitely focused a lot on recovery. And as you can see with the first 6 mons of my team, they all have some form of recovery, so that's really good. And then if you look at the next few, they have some form of recovery, not really, but a lot of them do. So that's kind of nice. I did want a cleric, so we ended up getting Mega Charizard. So I guess I can quickly go over this. We got Mega Charizard, super cool Mega. I haven't used it yet. Starmie is a Z user. What's cool about Z users is that it is actually point based. So you will each round costs more points, and if it goes undrafted, then it's like 7 points, so you can snag some cool stuff there. And whatever point you got it for, you can do 1.5 times that, and you get that. Either way, let's try to go a little quicker. So, Starmie, super cool, water type, needed speed, needed a hazard removal for Mega Charizard, so I thought Starmie was super nice. Gave me the speed I wanted, gave me the special attacking alternative that I needed. So yeah, Starmie was kind of a perfect fit there, even though I kind of got it round 2. I still kind of like it there. So Hippowdon is another pick I think I could have waited on, but I do really like Hippowdon as it does give me a great ground type, which I think are very central in draft picks. And it gives Sand, which is like a cool little niche that this team has, but doesn't really have to use it. Also gives me a rocker, which I didn't have at this point, and more recovery. So next up, you can kind of see it poking its head out. Florges. Kind of a good alternative with Hippowdon, especially defensive, and it is also kind of nice as it is a cleric and it is also a fairy, so kind of fits that super well. And at this point, my team is looking super nice. And round 5, I ended up picking up Mienshao. I thought that was another cool little pick. There, it was still there. I wanted some more speed, better viable Scarfer, so I decided, you know what, Mienshao, kind of a cool pick, so let's pick that up. Give me some momentum, that's nice. Especially paired with the next pick, Decidueye, which is a very cool mon that I've never used before in draft format. Always wanted to try it out. Gave me a grass type because water types were looking kind of annoying to this team, so I was like, alright, bulky waters, you are not going anywhere. So I decided to pick up Decidueye. Ghost types are super nice. Another hazard remover alongside Starmie and Florges. So another reliable way to get rid of hazards for Megazord. And yeah, Spirit Check was cool. Can be a setup mon, can be a special attacker, can be physical attacker, can be Scarf. A lot of diversity with Decidueye. Next up, we have Venomoth, Aerodactyl, and Eelektross. I picked up Venomoth alongside Aerodactyl, I think. I actually think I picked up Aerodactyl before I picked up Venomoth. Venomoth was kind of like the pick I was like, well, if it makes it back round 8, then I will gladly take it because less points means I have to spend less points for Z move. So I was like, all right, Venomoth, it would be a cool pick. I don't think anyone will pick it up. I definitely value Aerodactyl more, as I wanted another hazard move, or hazard setter. It is another remover, but it's fast. It can get it gets a lot of cool moves. That is nice. Yeah, pretty cool with Aerodactyl. Yeah, that's basically it. I just wanted speed. A rock type, I guess, is cool, and another flying type is also kind of nice, though it's not really there for the flying type. Just, I guess, a ground immunity there. Then there was Venomoth, which I'm super excited to use, because Venomoth has a lot of cool stats. You know, you look, you see, oh, wow, it's like kind of, but, you know, it gets Quiver Dance, and can be super useful as a special sweeper, so that's kind of a nice little there. And it does get Roost, so it can be kind of a more defensive, weird Venomoth set, so definitely got to watch out for that. It even gets T-Spikes, which I find is kind of odd, but, you know, it gets that, so... yeah, it's such a cool, unique mon that with a Z move, which this is my Z user, another one, I have 4, it definitely can put in the work. Also, Decidueye is a Z user as well. Next up, my next 2 picks were kind of like back-to-back. Obviously, like I said, I was kind of middle last, so I was like not quite the end, but I was like near towards the end, so I was getting like, 16 picks between each of my next 2 picks, which definitely is not bad at all. Maybe even less than that. But I decided to pick up Elite Tross, give me another ground immunity, which was kind of nice because definitely goes well with stuff like Charizard. And it's an electric type, doesn't have any weaknesses. Definitely wanted some more momentum and Volt Switch to help go with me and Xiao. Definitely a little bit slower, but at the same time, it is very, very nice as a bulky pivot. Can be defensive or especially defensive if I want it to be. And yeah, the electric type also helps deal with bulky waters that Charizard does not appreciate. So basically going around Charizard here. So that's Elite Tross. Next up, I wanted to pick up Stoutland because there were a few other sand teams. So I definitely want to pick this up relatively soon. So I was like, all right, definitely want to pick up Stoutland. Kind of fits that sand niche. Kind of gets that other aspect of the team that is cool. As you can see, there is a lot of speed tiers that I was kind of working with. So this is kind of like the perfect puzzle pieces. And it just fits so well together. Decidueye is 80 base speeds, Fortress is 75, this is 80, Venomoth is 90, you can see Quillfish, that's 85, Aerodactyl is 130, Starmie is 115, Mienshao, like, the biggest speed gap I think I have is, like, 10 to 15. Starmie to Aerodactyl, but, you know, even that's pretty, not that big a deal. Normal type 2, Stoutland does give me a Ghost immunity, so that's kind of cool. And yeah, it's kind of an interesting pick. I was actually thinking about Porygon Z, but that did get picked up, so I was like, alright, I guess we'll pick up Stoutland then. So, yeah, that's Stoutland. Next up, we have Quillfish. A perfect... That's not... Nope, don't want to stream. So, Quillfish is a really cool mon, as it does give me the spike stacking ability, and this actually got a lot of cool moves this generation. Not going to go into too much detail there, because it definitely has some cool stuff, but... Quillfish is, yeah, a very, very nice mon. It's spike stacking, another poison type to go with Venomoth. Not really the, like, most hype diversity there, but at the same time gives me a lot of just unique options there. Gives me a physical water type, gives me a speedier mon, and just allows me to hit water and poison on the physical side, too. So, definitely better with fairies there. So, finally, we have Pawniard. I didn't have a Dark or a Steel type, and I did kind of want both, but at the same time, I didn't really need a defensive Steel type, and even if I did, it would have been trash. It would have been like Metang or something. So I decided for a more fun pick. Pawniard, this actually is a Z-Moon, so I actually can run Darkinium Z or something on this thing. Would I? Probably not, but at the same time, this does get a lot of cool moves, like Knock Off, Low Kick, and all the stuff Bisharp gets, like freaking like Rock Polish and Stealth Rocks and all that jazz, but not really the most defensive, but it's like got fine attack and it's defiant, so it's cool enough. And yeah, maybe Pawniard can come in sometimes. You know, Steel type could be kind of cool. Doesn't have the worst attack in the world, so yeah, Pawniard's kind of just that little cool pick at the end. You know, it wasn't really that much to go off of. And finally, we have our week 1. So that out of the way, let's get into our week 1 match. So we're going up against our first round opponent, or not first round opponent, our first week opponent. That is going to be a divisional matchup. So this is very, very important, and I really want to do well in this match. So that being said, the team that we're going up against is the Dallas Marshadows, coached by P. I call him P when in my head. I think it's Pi, just because the Showdown usually name you'll see. But yeah, his team is pretty scary. He has a lot of defensive mons. He has some like Aurora Veil offense type stuff with like Araquanid, Sheer Force Landorus, by the way, and Lanoon. So very, very scary. A lot of stuff to look out for. First up, he has Landorus, Tangrowth, which is really annoying to my team actually. Toxapex, Ninetales, Magneton, Araquanid, Porygon Z, which by the way was unfortunate that he picked that because I kind of wanted Porygon Z. Lanoon, Mega Houndoom, which by the way he picked up in undrafted, so that's kind of a cool little pickup because you can only pick one Mega. So Ninjask and Stalk and Dusclops. Ninjask and Stalk are like irrelevant. They do not do well against my team. Everything else I think is a reasonably good chance of coming. Porygon Z can be a really big nuisance if I don't prepare well for it. He is dual normal, so basically had to bring Decidueye this week because it was just kind of a given, especially for Extreme Speed Lanoon, which actually kind of destroys my team if I let it set up. So definitely have to have some ways around that. But I believe every mon can basically deal with it relatively well, bar like maybe Quillfish. But yeah, it's definitely a very scary team, and one that I think I've prepared well for, so I'm not too worried, but at the same time could go very awry if certain sets are brought. So let's go right into the stuff. So starting off, we have Mega Charizard X. So definitely a weirder set, but it's not really... I think it's definitely very, very powerful. 2 attacks, Sword Stance, Roost. You don't really see Sword Stance on Charizard too often, but I figured with Toxapex around, it's better than Dragon Dance, because Dragon Dance, I can set up a Dragon Dance all I want. I can go for like Dragon Claw, but he's going to switch in Toxapex very, very often on my Charizard. So getting that Sword Stance up and then going for a very powerful Dragon Claw could definitely be the difference between killing and not killing that Toxapex. So he can't really haze stall me if I'm using Sword Stance, because if I'm using Dragon Dance, yeah, he can like haze stall me. So and I don't really need speed on this team because he has Porygon Z, which is like 90 base speed, and then his next fastest mon is like Landorus or like Lanoon, but I don't really need to speed tie that because he's not really he's not, like, I don't really need to speed tie that. He's going to go for extreme speed half the time anyway, so I'm not really worried about outspeeding that. I'm going to speed creep his Porygon Z. I think I'm 308, so barely outspeeding that. Porygon Z, because that is kind of a threat, so being able to outspeed that and not take damage, or either find out if it's Scarf or not, is good information to have. So, Dragon Claw, Fire Punch is to avoid any potential recoil, and Dragon Claw because he literally has no Dragon Resist outside of, I believe, his Ninetales, and I think that's it, because he doesn't really have any other options. Sword Stance also allows me to just break down his defensive mons, so I'm really happy about Sword Stance this week. I think it's a cool bring. Next up, we have a pretty standard Florges. The EVs aren't really standard, but Moonblast, Wish, Protect, Heal Bell. Pretty standard. If he does want to like run some weird status stuff, Heal Bell is there for that. Toxic Spikes, potentially. If I can absorb him with Quillfish and then get rid of the status, that is kind of cool there. Yeah, and a lot of HP. I think I have enough defense to live, I believe. What can I live? I'm trying to think what I know it's for something. I don't know. I know I'm calm because I need to be able to take on a Sheer Force Landorus, so that's definitely a problem. I know I have enough defense for something. I think it might be to live... God, what is it? Oh, it's to live Araquanid's Liquidation. That's what that is. Don't know why, but, I probably could have just gone full like special attack, no really defense, but it is good to have that little bit of defense, could come in handy. So living that Araquanid's Liquidation is kind of like a weird EV spread. I'll give myself kind of a slap on the back for that one. But a lot of special attack because I do want to make sure that we are getting enough chip damage off on things, and he doesn't really have a good fairy resist outside of maybe like Magneton. Oh, that's his dragon resist, but his fire dragon stabs his fire and dragon resist are basically non-existent. So, Moonblast is very spammable versus team, so having a lot of special attack is really nice, and basically preventing setup by just going for a very powerful Moonblast is really nice too. But we are calm because this is a really good way to switch into special attackers like Houndoom. Moving on, we have Aerodactyl. Expert Belt with Stealth Rock, Stone Edge, Ice Fang, and Earthquake. Stone Edge, Ice Fang, Earthquake basically hits this whole team, bar like maybe Tangrowth, but I don't really need to hit Tangrowth as I do have other ways of doing that, so like Charizard, Florges, and basically if he has Tangrowth, I'm probably going to click Rocks, because the thing I noticed most about his team is he has very little hazard control. He has Landorus, and that's basically it. He really does not have any hazard control. So, partially why I brought Quillfish this week. Stealth Rocks, Stone Edge, Ice Fang, and Earthquake. Enough speed, just basically max speed, because this does outspeed a Scarf Magneton. If he does want to bring that, I don't know why he would run max speed, but if he does want to like speed tie a Scarf Decidueye, he can do that. So just to play it safe, don't really need to run anything else. If I could run like Adamant or something, but I do want to be ensure I can revenge kill maybe a Magneton, because Magneton is kind of annoying to my team if it's Scarf. So being able to revenge kill that is pretty nice. So unless he's like sturdy, but I'll probably have hazards up at that point. Stone Edge is pretty spammable, and also revenge killing Landorus is also pretty nice there too. And Earthquake's also pretty spammable versus his team too. Next up, we have Eelektross. Now, this is actually a mon that I added kind of late. I was like, wow, this actually has a really good matchup, and it really does. Eelektross, Volt Switch, Hidden Power Ice, Thunderbolt, Knockoff. I could run Flamethrower for, like, Magneton and Tangrowth, but I felt that Knockoff was better because knocking off either Magneton or Tangrowth's item is a lot more valuable, and it's a really good middle ground play to either knock off someone's item, because, you know, Hidden Power Ice is there for the Landorus. I can switch in on that thing's Earth Powers really easily. He can't really 2-hit KO me with anything unless he's like a physically offensive Landorus with like Choice Band. Like even then, I feel like he would just. I don't know if there's any way he can KO me with Eelektross 2 KO. So this is a very, very good Landorus check. Volt Switch and Thunderbolt are very, very spammable versus his team. And if they're not, they're either Magneton, which again, like I said, I can switch in very easily on a Magneton, and I would love to knock that thing's items off, so that's really cool. And then Hidden Power Ice can easily just kill Landorus. Modest Nature, because I really don't need defense outside of like a little bit of HP. And Spadef, I believe that is to live, I want to say, I don't really remember. I think it was to live something. I probably think it's like Houndoom's Fire Blast or something like that. But enough speed, outspeed a Adamant Araquanid that's running max speed, because I do not want him to run a lot of speed and just kill me. So yeah, definitely want to play it safe there. Volt Switch is really easy to go, especially if he brings an Araquanid and he thinks he's going to outspeed me. I can Volt Switch out and yeah, just go into something like Decidueye and take that really well. So moving on, we have Decidueye. This is a setup Decidueye with Sucker Punch and Spirit Shackle. Now, he does have a lot of resist to Spirit Shackle, and I get that. But having Sucker Punch is very, very key. Now, what this allows me to do is this actually allows me to revenge kills Lanoon. Well, I guess it doesn't work out in that scenario. But if I am able, the combination of Unnerve, Aerodactyl, which by the way I didn't go into, Unnerve is really good for a Figgy Berry Lanoon, because if he does go for Belly Drum, he can't eat his Figgy Berry. So, I think, well, he can, but it'd be after. But basically, with Unnerve, I can switch in Aerodactyl pretty safely. I can't really live in E-Speed, but he's not going to be able to eat his Figgy Berry. I can come in with Decidueye. I can Sucker Punch him. It does a lot. I am an Adamant Decidueye with a lot of defense, might I add. 32 speed, I believe, to outspeed again an Adamant. Araquanid, as that is kind of annoying, because I don't want him to outspeed me there. Roost, because I did actually want Recovery. I did originally have Leaf Blade, but I was like, I literally don't need Leaf Blade at all versus his team. So Spirit Shackle and Decidueye Z, because if he isn't, you know, rocking Porygon Z and Lanoon, this is very, very spammable versus his team, because it just does a lot to everything. Swords Dance, same like Charizard, just breaks down his defense. Toxapex, both Toxapex and Tangrowth do not appreciate a Z Spirit Shackle, nor a regular Spirit Shackle at +2. So, yeah, I think it kills both of them. I don't know why I'm actually Overgrow at that point, but, you know, it doesn't really matter, because it's Decidueye, and it really doesn't need its other ability. Finally, we have Quillfish. Now, I'm actually not going to click on Quillfish because there are certain things I want to keep a secret, but all you need to know is that it is a max HP, max Bidef Quillfish with spikes, able to taunt. It has taunt and spikes. The other two moves I'll keep under wraps because I think it actually could come in handy later on, but it is a spike stacker. Its main goal is to be able to take on, it's actually Sash to take one hit from not really anything in particular, mainly Landorus, but it's kind of a Sash lead. Quillfish, it can take whatever hit it wants to, it can spike, it can taunt any other leads. He does have a lot of setup like Araquanid and stuff like that, so taunting something would be great, and setting up any layers of spikes would be great. Definitely pressures his team a lot. As I said, he doesn't have any hazard control. Moving on to the actual battle, let's get into it. So, this is going to be the actual battle. Let me zoom in a little bit here. So, zoom in there. Bada bing. Probably a little bit more. There we go. That's good. Perfect. Okay. A little bit less, maybe, actually. Just a little bit less. Just a tad. Close enough. Okay, so as you can see, he brought a good amount of stuff. Now, seeing no Tangrowth is phenomenal because that means I don't really have to weaken that thing at all for Charizard or really Decidueye or anything. I can basically just kind of go about my day. I'm not really too worried about anything. And I'm glad I didn't bring something like Hippowdon or something because that would have gotten utterly murked this game. Maybe against like Lanoon it wouldn't have, but basically I'm glad I didn't bring it. So, yeah, I'm like, okay, well, he doesn't really have any hazard control as I thought. So Quillfish is looking super easy here. I'm just going to go Quillfish because Quillfish is a great lead versus his team, as he is going to lead the Araquanid, so that's actually perfect for me. I almost said that's almost bad for me. But I'm just going to taunt here because he really doesn't have any counterplay to it. If he wants to switch in Landorus, again, I do have the Focus Sash, so I'm not really worried about that. And taunting that thing is great because even if he switches in Landorus, he can't set up Rock Polish, he can't set up Sword Stance, he can't do any of that, Calm Mind, Sub, whatever he wants to do, he is switching into a taunt, so he cannot do that unless he's like Mental Orb. And if he was Mental Orb or Araquanid, props to him, because that would have been great prep. But I was actually thinking he might be, but Taunt is going to come off, and he is not going to be able to set up his web, so perfect right there. So I'm going to go for my spikes right now, as he's going to go Toxapex, and I'm like, Toxapex can't really touch me. I don't really need my Sash at this point. I already got one layer of spikes up, and that's basically here to stay. So I'm not really too worried about that. So I'm like, okay, I guess I'll just taunt you again. As he tries to set up his T-Spikes. So, yeah, that works out pretty well for me. I am guaranteed 2 layers of spikes. As he goes in Ninetales, and this kind of rains on my parade. I don't know why he didn't go Ninetales first, but I guess he kind of figured I'd overpredict or something. I don't know. But kind of wishing I was Black Sludge here, because then I could have guaranteed live a Freeze Dry, unless he was like Expert Belt or Spect, but I figured he'd be something like Clay. Yeah, so I'm going to stay in here. Just wanted to get my last layer of Spike up. So I wasn't too concerned right here. I was just like, yeah, well, might as well just set my last Spike. As he does go for Hypnosis and hits. So that's kind of unfortunate. Kind of a weird bring, but, you know, it is what it is. So I think I'm going to switch out Quillfish here, and I believe I'm going to go into my Charizard, because he really can't do much to my Charizard. If he does go for Moonblast, not too scared about that. So I'm just going to go Charizard. I really don't have any reason not to. He can set up the Veil all he wants. Again, I'm not too worried about this. Now, I'm going to misplay a little bit here. I am going to stay in and go for the Sword Stance. Now, my thought process behind here was I expected him to go Toxapex, which would have been a pretty decent play, which is the play I would have made, because I would not have risked my Ninetales just going down here. Like, yes, even if even if my Lanoon comes in. I guess he didn't really want me setting up either, so I can respect that play. But he's going to stay in, so I'm going to kind of misplay here and just stay in Swords Dance. I kind of was figuring Toxapex would come in, but he's going to go for Moonblast, and I am going to set up the Swords Dance, and I will be in range of another Moonblast at this point. So kind of a misplay on my part, but that's A-okay, because as I said before, I do have recovery on this Charizard, so if I can get this thing at all in now, like Toxapex, I'm basically golden because I can either roost up, or if I can even get a wish up on Florges, I can get this thing back up to full. So, speaking of Florges, I believe I go into Florges right now, as I'm like, okay, well, I definitely need to make sure that I'm getting back HP. I'm not letting Charizard go down, because Charizard still is a great matchup this game. So, going to wish up here. Do I wish? I believe I do. No, I heal bell. Okay, so yeah, I'm going to heal bell. Get rid of this, like, sleep on Qwilfish, because I did want to kind of preserve that. I'm going to go to Decidueye here because he really can't do much. He can set up his webs, but I'm going to get in before the webs, and I am going to I'm going to be able to kind of just SD right in this thing's face. Like, yeah, you can like Toxic or something, but I'm not really too worried about that. So I'm going to SD here, and basically guarantee get rid of Araquanid. So I'm going to Spirit Shackle because I did want the Aurora Veil to go down. I kind of want to stall it out. So I'm going to go Spirit Shackle. Here, it's going to do about 46%, so he's pretty standard Araquanid. He's going to Leech Life, unfortunately get back to a point where he can live the next Spirit Shackle, so I am going to waste my Z move here, but in the end, I believe it was worth it because it's just kind of getting rid of this Araquanid, so kind of nice there because Araquanid is really annoying to deal with. And if you did want to switch out into like Lanoon or something, I can, actually can't hit that thing. Funnily enough, if it doesn't go for Belly Drum, but gonna go into Florges on. It's kind of moving a little fast. So obviously Decidueye can't really do much. Sucker Punch, I actually thought it would do more to Houndoom. I don't know why, but yeah, Mega Houndoom takes like 32% max from a Sucker Punch at +2. So I kind of underestimated it there, but that's okay because Florges is very, very easy switching. I live 2 Fire Blasts, and even if he like does more, I think if he's like a modest or timid, even if he's timid, I can like protect. I have leftovers. I get 2 turns of leftovers. So I'm not really too worried there. As he's just going to Dark Pulse. Florges stays, can basically fire off either Moonblast, but I believe I just Wish here because I didn't want him going for Fire Blast or anything there, or Sludge Bomb. But super easy there. He's going to just go for Aurora Veil, I believe. And even if he didn't, I am going to get that Wish back up. I believe he can't kill my Aerodactyl. Maybe he could. That was kind of a dumb play on my part, but yeah, I expected just the Aurora Veil, so I made a very aggressive double into the Aerodactyl because I wanted to just get rid of this thing. I really did. So Aerodactyl is going to come in. I can Revenge Kill this thing with Stone Edge. Get the Wish back. Great. He's gonna go into Toxapex. I'm gonna go for the Stone Edge. Kind of gauge the damage on this thing. If I miss, that's fine. I have pretty easy ways of dealing with this thing. So that tells me he's a max HP, max defense, bold Toxapex. Pretty obvious that he would be. Not really the end of the world. Gonna go into Elite Trust because he really can't do much. He can set up his T-Spikes. I can absorb those later with Qwilfish. So that's pretty easy play there. But I can get this thing in. I'm going to actually knock off because I did expect either his Landorus or something else to come in. I didn't really think he would risk his Toxapex like that. He just kind of keeps staying in here. But yeah, I'm gonna knock off first, and I'm like, okay, I think this would be the turn he would switch into Landorus because why would you stay in with your Toxapex? So he's going to stay in again, and he's going to go for Liquidation because I guess he just doesn't want to switch. So I'm like, okay, well, I don't really lose anything by staying in here because Landorus is, you know, he can't really, like I said, it can't 2-hit KO me. So I'm like, all right, well, I don't want to be in like 2-hit KO range. So I'm going to just Thunderbolt here as he recovers. So that's great because now I'm still out of range of a Landorus's attack. As he switches into Ninetales, I'm like, okay, well, I can basically take this out with a Thunderbolt, but unfortunately it lives with 2%. So, kind of unfortunate there, but not really the end of the world. Elite Trust did really what it was supposed to do in weakening the Toxapex. Could have Volt Switched, but, you know, it's not really, again, not really the end of the world. I think he expected me to Volt Switch there, but Thunderbolt just does a heck of a lot, especially to a defensive Toxapex. So, I'm going to take this moment to absorb the T-Spikes with Qwilfish. Pretty great there. Pretty easy. as he's just going to Aurora Veil up. I'm going to try to set up my last layer of spikes, but unfortunately he does hit the next Hypnosis, which is kind of sad. But I didn't really want his Lanoon coming in for free there, so I did want to kind of prevent that. I thought he would actually go Lanoon here, but he's actually going to go Landorus, which is also kind of annoying because if he does set up the Rock Polish, I am kind of in a tough spot. However, if he doesn't actually have Z-Mons, which... okay. He's definitely going for Rock Polish here because no matter what I switch in, like he wants to make sure he can revenge kill whatever I bring in. So, like I said, I am EV'd on Florges to live 2 Earth Powers. So I'm gonna go into my Florges here. I can live 2 Earth Powers, especially after Protect. If he is Calm Mind, that is a kind of a problem, but at the same time, Rock Polish Calm Mind can't really hit Elite Tross, so I am kind of in the clear there. Like I can live really whatever hit and get some damage off. So no matter what, Hidden Power Ice after this Moonblast will kill. So or will kill, yeah. So I'm gonna Wish Up, get some HP back. As you can see, he's not 2KOing me with his Earth Power. Gonna Protect, pretty obvious there. Just gonna make sure that he can't really do anything. As I'm just kind of gonna Wish Protect stall. So until he is forced to switch out, which he does here, back into his Toxapex. I don't really know what he's going to try to do here, but I'm going to Wish Up, and I'm like, alright, well, I can take this opportunity to just kind of go my Charizard. So yeah, so he's going to go for a Liquidation. No, he's actually going to switch in Lanoon, because he was probably trying to exploit my, me staying in the Florges there, or going to something else, I don't really know, maybe like Elite Tross. But I'm going to go into Charizard, going to Dragon Claw, because I don't really want that Lanoon setting up whatsoever. So I'm just going to Swords Dance. I can basically Revenge Kill with Decidueye or Aerodactyl. Either one is fine. And I'm just going to SD and take out the Toxapex. So he's going to go into, I believe, his Landorus. And I'm like, okay. So not really that big of a play. He either goes for 1 Rock Polish or 2 Earth Power. Or another move, which he actually does. But I was like, alright, well, I can very easily Revenge Kill this thing with either Aerodactyl or I guess I could, well, or Elite Tross. So I was like, alright, well, I don't really want to switch into anything because he could go for something crazy. So I'm like, alright, well, I'm just going to stay in here. I mean, Charizard's basically done its job. Like, Lanoon, yes, is still kind of an issue, but at the same time, like, I don't really need Charizard to beat it. So Charizard's just kind of a breaker, and he's going to go for Gravity here, which is actually cool prep because it does beat Elite Tross, but at the same time, I'm just going to take out his Landorus. So he's going to send in his Houndoom next because he really can't do anything else. Unfortunately, he's going to go for Dark Pulse, and unfortunately, he will get the Flinch, which is kind of unfortunate because I basically would have 6-0'd his team at that point. Bar Lanoon, I wouldn't have 6-0'd his team, probably, but yeah. It would have been nicer to not get that Flinch because then Charizard would have gotten more kills, but that's okay. I went for Dragon Claw there, not the end of the world. So, yeah, I'm going to go into Aerodactyl because it basically cleans the game up now. I basically put him in a checkmate position. I outspeed the Houndoom 100%. Lanoon cannot kill me with anything. I think it might get Aqua Tail. I'm not sure. If it does, then I would have gone to Decidueye the next turn and killed it. I don't know. I guess, I mean, there's a lot of ways I could have done that. I wonder if Lanoon gets Aqua Tail, actually. Let me look. Does it get Aqua Tail? No. No, it does not. Well, it gets a lot of stuff, but Aqua Tail is not one of them, so let's move on. To the final play of the match, and I'm just going to Earthquake here. No reason not to. 100% accurate. I'm actually, oh, never mind, because I realized I was like, wait a second, Sticky Webs is affected by gravity. So I'm like, okay, well, I actually cannot guaranteed win this. I just go to my Florges, stall out the turn of gravity. I actually kind of was like, yeah, I could, like, play it safe, Protect here, and then Wish Up. But, you know, I was like, yeah, I don't really want to play around Flinches and whatever luck he has. So, just like, all right, hope for no crit. So I Wish Up. He does poison me, which kind of sucks, but at the same time, it's really not the end of the world. I'm just going to go back into my Aerodactyl here. as he's gonna actually go for Dark Pulse. I think because I think he was just, you know, I don't know what he's going for at that point. Probably a flinch. But I'm gonna go for Earthquake here because I was like, all right, stall out the gravity. Basically one at this point because he goes Lanoon. He takes more spikes damage. I'm gonna go for Earthquake, which is gonna do about 50. He can't get his Figgy Berry, so he can't really he can't belly drum up. So he's just gonna Seed Bomb, try to get like double crit. Maybe I think that was what he was going for. But Earthquake's going to knock him out. Ninetales is going to go down to the spikes. And that is going to be a 5-0 victory for your Beijing Beheeyems. So, that being said, I think I played this game pretty dang well. It was a pretty tough matchup in terms of just the fact that he had a lot of good mons and a pretty well-structured team. So, I was kind of worried about that. But other than that, I was pretty confident going into this match. I think the whole spikes... setting up with the double sword stance with Zard and Decidueye. The cleaner being Aerodactyl, which as it did its job very nicely. So Tauntly, Squillfish, I think a lot of the cool roles were in this game. Didn't really need a special attacker this game. The only real special threat he could have brought was like AV Tang, which I did have knockoff for on my Eelektross, so that was kind of the point of that. But overall, I think we played this game pretty well. The pivot... The Assault Vest, Eelektross plus Florges really provided the nice core that we needed. Didn't really need a defensive answer. I just really needed special defense because a lot of his main breakers were especially offensive. So, yeah, that's kind of the point there. It was a pretty fun game. Thanks to Pi. Whatever. Great game. Definitely, I think the only misplay I had was the Swords Dance play versus Ninetales, but even then, I'm not really super kicking myself for that. It was another way to stall out Aurora Veil, and yeah, it didn't bring in anything like his Landorus or something like that. So, I don't really necessarily disagree with the play I made, but, you know, maybe we could have 6-0'd if I played it like immaculately, but overall, pretty happy with it. We are top of the division at the moment, so... Yeah, that being said, guys, hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll see you guys in week 2. See ya.